Hey, how's it going, everyone? I wanted to give an update on some of the stuff that I've been working on for the past month and a half. But first, I'd like to thank everyone for following my journey in developing this game. The channel just broke over 2,000 subscribers here and nearing 2,000 on Twitter, and I just wanted to thank everyone for being so positive and being so helpful in the comment sections. In some related news, I got an email from Steam to see if I was interested in participating in Next Fest, so I ended up accepting that, and then I got a subsequent email from them asking if they can use my trailer or footage in promotion of Next Fest, and I was like, yeah, go for it. So that is something I'm looking forward to, but also it's a little bit scary and daunting because apparently you have to do a live stream of yourself playing the game, answering questions, which as an introvert who has never streamed before kind of feels daunting, but
you gotta do what you gotta do.
I also spent some time trying to get into PAX as an exhibitor, but when I emailed the address that was on their official website, I got bounced back saying that the email doesn't exist or I don't have permission to email it. So I sent an email to a different department, and they were nice enough to get all my information and forward it to the correct place, but I still got no response from anyone. And it's been about 2 weeks, and it doesn't really look like I'm going to be able to get in, but it is what it is. As far as what I've been working on, it's been mostly art for the level Razorstrum Ridge that I had blocked out in the previous devlog. So the original idea for this level is that it starts out at a beach with some volcanic activity and it leads to some ruins and some more volcanic activity until that leads to more lava flowing and a collapsing sequence of platforms that sink into the lava. And then once you get past that, you go into a temple inside the volcano, which is where the Flame Knight resides. After going through the level over and over again, I realized that I was kind of missing something. I wanted to have some enemies that were a bit faster. So I came up with these burnt zombies that have lava in their chest cavity. They either jump in from off screen or they ambush you from behind these rocks that act as background elements. I also decided to replace those lava throwing knights from the previous devlog with these fire priests that summon a homing fireball. It flies towards the player, and when it gets close it explodes. Combining those two types of enemies really made the player move around, which to me felt a little bit more interesting than the fireball throwing lava knight, which I'll save for a different level. A lot of the challenge for this level, art-wise, was sort of selling that this is a fiery lava area. In the previous devlog, I had a concept for this platform that lava would push up and keep in the air before stopping, and then the platform drops down and lands back into the lava. This effect was achieved with a panning tiling texture that was overlaid with a wavy texture that would move at different speeds. And I have the scalar parameter that breaks up the lava when the eruption is done. For the flowing lava, I ended up using 4 tiling textures that I made in Substance Designer, and I blended them with vertex color painting to break up the patterns. I used a similar technique for the glowy rocks in the background as well. Something else I added was the post-process material that has a sort of heat distortion effect that I think also sells a bit of that feeling that this is a really hot area. For a lot of the background elements, I ended up just doing some alpha cards with some paintings on it. Stuff for the mountains, stuff for the rocks, and some for the castles that are in the background. And the last thing I did for this level is polishing up the boss fight intro. Even though it's still a work in progress, I'm pretty happy so far with how the level turned out. Next, I think I'm going to go back to the demo for a couple weeks and really polish it up, make sure that it's ready for Next Fest before I move on to the next level. I'm also in search of an illustrator that is able to kind of replicate a specific style of video game cover art from the 90s. I've been kind of noticing a recent trend of a lot of video games that have a very similar aesthetic or composition in their cover art. And while I'm pretty happy with my current cover art, I wanted to see if there's another thing that I could do. Something that's kind of in the style of Tom Du Bois. Maybe even Tom Du Bois can do it. I don't know how much he charges per hour or per illustration, but I've always been a big fan of his cover art for Castlevania and Contra 3. That sort of over-the-top, action-y character pose surrounded by all the enemies that you're fighting in the game. I find that composition a bit more interesting than just a single character standing in a vast space, and I think it would also make for a pretty good poster. So that's been what I've been working on for the past month. It's been quite a difficult month, between some health stuff and my dog getting a gum disease that required him to get 4 teeth extracted, which was a huge bummer. But hopefully the next month is better. End of devlog. Fart sound.